For nearly a century, scientists and pop culture agreed on one thing: dinosaurs were cold blooded, dim witted lizards. The prevailing view was that they laid their eggs in the sand and walked away, completely abandoning their young to fend for themselves, much like modern sea turtles. Dinosaurs were monsters of instinct, incapable of affection, community, or care. But in 1978, a shocking discovery in the dusty Badlands of Montana completely shattered this paradigm. Deep within the rock strata, paleontologists unearthed something that scientific community thought was impossible: a massive communal dinosaur nursery. Our story begins in 1978 in the rugged, sun-baked landscape of northwestern Montana. At the time, a museum preparator named Jack Horner and a high school science teacher named Bob Michaela were exploring the Two Medicine Formation. They stopped by a local rock shop in Chateau, Montana, owned by Marion Branvold. Branvold showed the duo tiny fossilized bones that she had found in the area, which she suspected belonged to a baby dinosaur. Horner and Michaela immediately recognized the significance. It was a baby duck-billed dinosaur, completely intact and unlike anything previously known in this region. Following the trail back to the site where the bones were unearthed, the paleontologists made a discovery that would alter the course of paleontology history forever. They found a depression in the earth, a bowl-shaped nest about 7 feet across. Inside the nest were the remains of 15 baby dinosaurs. Surrounding this depression were dozens of other nests containing unhatched eggs, crushed eggshells, and juveniles of various sizes. They quickly realized they were looking at a prehistoric nursery and named this fossil-rich location Egg Mountain. But how did Horner and Michaela know that these dinosaurs were actively raising their young, rather than just using a nesting ground like sea turtles? Well, the answers lay within the fossils themselves. First, the babies found in these bowl-shaped nests measured about 3 feet long. By examining the internal bone structure and histology, scientists realized that these babies were way too large to have just hatched. They had been living in the nest and growing there for quite some time. Second, the hatchlings' bones were spongy and underdeveloped. They simply lacked the bone growth required to walk around and forage for themselves. Finally, and perhaps most strikingly, paleontologists found wear patterns on the teeth of these tiny dinosaurs. This meant that the hatchlings had been eating solid food before they died. The only way these helpless, immobile babies were getting food was from the adults, their parents. They were bringing it to the nest. Because of the evidence of nurturing behavior, Jack Horner and Bob Michaela named the new dinosaur Maiasaura. Maiasaura is the combination of the Greek word Maia, meaning good mother, and Saura, which is the feminine form of lizard. The discovery of Egg Mountain went far beyond simple parental care. They opened a window into the entire social and ecological life of these animals. Maiasaura was a type of hadrosaur, a duck-billed dinosaur. Adults grew to an impressive 30 feet long and weighed up to 4 tons. They had broad, flat beaks and a small, spiky crest in front of their eyes. Massive bone beds found in Montana suggest that Maiasaura traveled in gigantic herds, sometimes measuring up to 10,000 individuals. When it was time to reproduce, these herds would return to the same breeding grounds year after year. They built their nests close together, roughly 23 feet apart, much like modern seabird colonies today. This communal nesting offered built-in protection. Parents could defend the colonies together, keeping watch over the eggs and hatchlings while others went off to forage for vegetation. Paleontologists have been able to map out the entire life cycle of Maiasaura. We know they grew at an incredibly fast rate, similar to modern warm-blooded animals, reaching lengths of 9 meters in just a few years. And because there are so many specimens at varying stages of development, they serve as one of the best models for vertebrate population growth. So, why does Maiasaura matter so much to the broader field of paleontology? Before Maiasaura, the dinosaur renaissance was already beginning to challenge the idea that dinosaurs were cold blooded. But the discoveries in the two medicine formation provided the most concrete behavioral evidence yet. Maiasaura gave scientists the first substantial proof that some non avian dinosaurs had complex social structures. They proved that these animals weren't just simple automatons acting on blind instinct. They were complex creatures with advanced social bonds and long term parental investment. This discovery also strongly supported the growing theory that many dinosaurs were warm blooded, since raising helpless young and providing a constant food supply requires a high energy, active metabolism. Their story changed how we reconstruct dinosaur ecosystems. Suddenly, the prehistoric world became a dynamic place filled with herd migrations, communal nurseries, and intense family bonds. In fact, the dinosaur was so monumental that in 1985, Maiasaura was officially named the state fossil of Montana. Today, the legacy of the good mother lizard lives on in every new discovery about dinosaur behavior. Whenever we find evidence of brooding theropods, herd migration, or growth patterns in bones, we trace that line of scientific thinking right back to the dusty badlands of Montana.